Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English the Natural Way. I'm Alex.
Hi, friends. I'm Linda. We're so excited to have you with us today, no matter where you are right now, at home, on a walk, or maybe relaxing with a cup of tea.
Thank you for choosing to spend your time learning English with us. We believe that learning English doesn't have to be stressful or complicated.
That's right. It can be calm, simple, and even enjoyable. So, how was your day today?
It was good, nothing special. I worked a little, had some coffee, and tried to relax. What about you?
Pretty similar. A normal day.
Simple days are nice.
Yes, and of course, we always think about English.
Always English. So today's topic is a really important one, to and for.
Many learners ask us, should I say to you or for you? When do I use to? When do I use for?
Don't worry. Today, we'll make it very simple. One clear idea, real examples, and English you can use every day.
Before we start, if you enjoy learning English in a simple and natural way, please like this episode, share it with your friends, and subscribe to English the Natural Way.
All right, let's get started.
First, let's relax for a second. To and for are not scary words. They are small words, but they feel different.
And feeling is the key, not grammar rules.
Many learners get confused because they translate in their head. Today, don't translate, just feel the meaning.
Let's start with to. To is about movement and direction. It means where something goes or who something goes to.
Think about moving from one place to another, from here to there.
For example, I'm going to work. You are here now, and then you move to work.
Another example, I'm going to the gym. You start at home and you go to the gym.
She walked to the bus stop. You can see the movement in your mind. She starts here, she walks, she arrives at the bus stop. That's why we use to.
And to is not only for short distances. We also use it for big trips.
We're flying to Sydney. They're traveling to Japan. Different cities, different countries, still the same feeling. Movement, direction, going somewhere.
So remember this simple idea. To is about where something goes.
Now let's talk about for. For feels different.
For is not about movement. For is about why we do something or who benefits from it.
For example, this gift is for you. The gift is not moving right now. It just tells us who the gift is meant for.
Another example, I'm learning English for my job. English is not moving anywhere. It answers the question, why?
Why are you learning English? For your job.
So let's keep it very simple. To is about where it goes. For is about why we do it or who it is good for.
You don't need long grammar explanations. Just feel the difference.
And don't worry if you make mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning.
We will practice together, slowly and naturally.
If you can draw an arrow in your head, to is probably the right word. An arrow means something is moving from one place to another.
And don't worry, we will also show to with people. Yes, because English loves movement, even when you can't see it.
Now let's take to one step further. The idea is still movement, but this time the destination is a person, not a place.
Something moves to someone.
For example, I gave the keys to my brother. The keys move from you to your brother. First you have the keys, then your brother has them.
We can clearly feel the movement.
Let's try another example. She sent an email to her boss. Even though we can't see the email, we still feel it moving.
The email starts with her, it moves through the internet, and finally it reaches her boss. That feeling of movement is why we use to.
Here's another very common sentence. Can you explain this to me? The idea moves from one person to another.
Information moves, meaning moves, advice moves, words move, messages move. Many things can move to a person, not only physical objects.
Listen to these natural examples. I sent a message to my friend. Don't say that to her. Can you talk to him later?
All of these have the same feeling. Something goes from one person to another.
So remember this simple idea. To is about receiving. If someone receives something, to is usually the best choice.
You don't need to memorize rules. Just ask yourself one simple question. Is something moving to a person? If the answer is yes, to sounds right. Easy and natural. No stress.
Now let's look at another very common use of to. This one appears everywhere in daily English.
Sometimes to comes before verb. In this case, to is part of the verb pattern.
Don't think about movement this time. This is where many learners overthink, but in real life, it's very natural. We say these sentences every day.
For example, I want to learn English. Nothing is moving anywhere. To is just connecting wanting and learning.
Another example, we decided to stay home. Again, no movement. It's just how English works.
Listen to more examples. I need to call her. He tried to explain. She wants to improve her English.
These are normal, everyday sentences.
So here is the relaxed way to think about it. After verbs like want, need, decide, and try, to is simply part of the structure.
Don't analyze it too much. If it sounds natural, it usually is.
Listen to real English. Copy the pattern slowly. With time, it becomes automatic, just like a habit.
That's exactly right. The more you hear these patterns, the more natural they become. Your brain starts to remember them without thinking.
It's like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, you think about every movement, but after practice, your body just knows what to do.
English is the same way. At first, you think about every word, but with practice, it flows naturally.
Now, let's talk about for. When you hear for, ask a different question.
The question is why? Why are we doing this?
For is not about movement. For is about reason and purpose.
For example, this button is for emergencies. The button is not moving anywhere. It simply tells us the purpose, what it is made for.
Another example. I'm studying English for my job. We immediately understand the reason. It feels clear and natural.
You are not thinking about grammar. You are just explaining your life.
Or listen to this one. We stopped for lunch. Lunch is the reason. Hunger is the reason. That's why for sounds perfect.
So maybe the best way to remember for is not with rules, but with feeling.
When your sentence answers why, for usually fits naturally. No pressure, no memorizing.
Just listen to your meaning and let English flow naturally.
And now let's let the word for do its job. For likes to explain reason and benefit.
Let me ask you a simple question.
Sure, go ahead.
When you give someone a gift, what do you usually say?
I usually say, this is for you. And that feels very natural, right?
Yes, it feels right every time. When you say that, you are not talking about movement, you are talking about who benefits.
The gift exists because of that person. It is meant to make them happy.
So when I hear for, I often feel kindness. I feel care and thoughtfulness. I feel one person thinking about another person.
That's a really nice feeling.
For example, exercise is good for your health. We are talking about benefit, not movement.
Nothing is moving anywhere. We're talking about a positive result. Something becomes better. Health becomes better.
Let me give you another example. I booked a table for my friends. Your friends are the reason. They get the benefit.
So if someone is helped or supported, for sounds very natural.
When your sentence answers the question, who is this helping? For usually fits perfectly.
Again, no grammar stress, just meaning and feeling. English becomes easier when you trust that feeling.
I completely agree.
Now here is another situation where many learners pause.
Talking about time.
Yes, especially how long something lasts, duration.
For example, I've lived here for 5 years. We are not talking about a destination. 5 years is not a place. It is a period of time.
You can feel the length of it, time passing slowly.
Another example, we waited for a long time. You can almost feel the waiting. The minutes go by one.
Nothing is moving anywhere. We're describing how long the situation continues. That's why for sounds natural with time.
For connects the action with its duration.
And that's why we don't use to here. We don't say waited to 5 years. We don't say lived to a long time.
For feels comfortable with time. It helps your listener feel the length.
Again, no rules to memorize. Just listen to what you are really saying. If it's about how long, for usually fits.
Let's practice with a few more time examples. I studied English for 3 hours today.
We've been friends for 10 years.
The meeting lasted for 2 hours.
Can you feel the duration in each sentence? That's the power of for with time.
It creates a picture in your mind of time passing, like watching sand fall through an hourglass.
Now this is the part where many learners say, "Oh, now I get it."
Because the situation looks the same, but the feeling is different.
This is why people get confused. They see the same words and the same people, but English listens to meaning, not just words.
Let's start with a clear example. I gave the book to Anna. How does that feel?
It feels like movement. You had the book before, now Anna has the book. The book changes hands. Anna receives it.
Now, listen to this sentence. I bought the book for Anna.
The feeling changes. The book might still be with you, but the reason you bought it is Anna.
Same book, same Anna, different meaning.
One sentence is about giving, the other is about benefit.
This is very important. To is about receiving. For is about benefit.
Keep that idea in your mind.
Let's try another example. This app is for learning English. What do you feel here?
Purpose and reason. The app exists because of learning English.
Now compare it with this sentence. I need to learn English. Do we use for here?
No, we don't, because now we're talking about an action. To becomes part of the verb.
Same word, English, different role.
Let's do one more real-life example. I'm going to the gym. That feels like movement. You leave home and arrive at the gym.
Now listen carefully. I go to the gym for my health. Same gym, same person, but now we are talking about why, not where.
And that is the key idea. Same situation, different feeling.
English is not asking you to memorize rules. It is asking you to choose the meaning you want.
When you focus on meaning, to and for suddenly feel much easier.
Slow down for a moment. Listen to your sentence carefully. Ask yourself what you really want to say.
Then the right word often appears naturally.
Can we talk about mistakes for a moment?
Yes, because this is where many learners feel nervous, and honestly, they don't need to feel nervous at all.
To and for are confusing for almost everyone.
Let's look at a common mistake. Many learners say, "I explained it for him."
I understand why they say that. They are thinking about helping him, but the feeling of explain is giving information.
Information moves to a person, so the natural sentence is, "I explained it to him." That sounds right in English. Another common situation is gifts. Some learners say, "This is to you."
They want to sound kind, but the feeling is benefit and care, so English chooses for.
We say, "This is for you." It sounds warm and natural, and that feeling matters.
Now here is the most important thing. Making mistakes is completely normal.
Even advanced learners mix these up. Even native speakers sometimes pause and think.
So don't feel bad. Mistakes mean you're trying.
Every time you notice the feeling, you get a little better.
English grows slowly, and that is okay.
Think of mistakes as stepping stones. Each mistake teaches you something new.
And remember, we've all been there. Everyone who speaks English well today made thousands of mistakes along the way.
That's how learning works. You try, you make a mistake, you notice it, and you improve.
So celebrate your mistakes. They mean you're learning.
Let's make everything super simple. If you remember just one thing, remember this.
When you use to, ask yourself one question. Where is it going, or who receives it?
When you use for, ask a different question. Why am I doing this? Or who benefits?
That's it. Just two simple questions.
Don't translate in your head. Just feel the meaning and let English flow naturally.
Nice and easy.
Now let's use to and for in a short story. Stories make English easier to remember.
Yesterday, I saw you preparing something. Were you getting ready for a birthday?
Yes, I was. I prepared a gift for my best friend.
That's really nice. What kind of gift was it?
It was small but meaningful. Later, I gave the gift to her in person.
That sounds perfect. Did you also send her a message?
Yes, I sent a message to her. It was a reminder about the appointment.
A message goes to a person.
A reason explains why.
And of course, I'm learning English for my future.
Same here. We are all doing this for a reason.
This morning, I said, I'm going to work. And after that, I went to the gym for my health.
To a place for a reason.
Everyday life, everyday English. Say it slowly. Use it naturally. Over time, it starts to feel easy.
No stress, just real conversation.
Can you see how natural these sentences sound? That's because we're using to and for based on meaning, not rules.
Exactly. When you focus on what you want to say, the right word usually comes naturally.
Let's quickly review everything.
To is for direction, receiving, or part of a verb like want to, need to, decide to, and try to.
For is about purpose, benefit, or time.
Same words, different feeling. Meaning comes first.
If something moves to someone or somewhere, use to.
If you talk about why, who benefits, or how long, use for.
Let's do a quick practice. Listen to these sentences and feel the difference.
I'm writing a letter to my mother. Movement. The letter will go to her.
I'm writing a letter for my mother. Benefit. Maybe she asked for it or it will help her.
We're going to the restaurant. Movement. We will arrive there.
We're going to the restaurant for dinner. Reason. Dinner is why we're going.
Can you feel how the meaning changes?
This is the beauty of English. Small words create big differences in meaning.
Now it's your turn, friends. Try making your own sentence. Use to or for in your sentence.
Talk about your life. Give something to someone. Do something for a reason, or talk about time.
Write your sentence in the comments. We read all of them, and we love seeing your practice.
Don't worry about mistakes. Just try and have fun.
Remember, English doesn't need to be hard. You don't need perfect grammar.
Just listen, repeat, and practice a little every day. Even 10 minutes helps a lot.
Consistency is more important than perfection. A little practice every day is better than a lot of practice once a week.
That's so true. Your brain needs time to absorb new patterns. Daily practice helps create strong connections.
And before you know it, using to and for will feel completely natural.
You won't think about it anymore. You'll just know.
Like, share, and subscribe to English the Natural Way.
We create new episodes every week to help you learn English in a simple, natural, and enjoyable way.
Keep going and enjoy learning English.
Remember, every small step forward is progress. Be patient with yourself.
Bye for now.
See you next time, Tens.